As we get closer to yet another European winter, things may not be the same as they used to be in terms of energy. Europe is about to experience a colder and less windy early winter. As several people have warned that there is a high risk of gas shortages this winter, Europe might face a terrifying situation this winter, which could be disastrous to its residents. This is happening because of Russia's invasion of Ukraine and the unexpectedly sturdy fight put up by the much smaller nation. And this has led to dramatic consequences. For this reason, the cost of living could be worse than it is, and people should be fully prepared to tackle what comes out of it. What will this mean for the people? How will they survive without gas? Will Russia triumph militarily over Ukraine and also win the gas war with the continent? Or will Ukraine write a fresh chapter in this war saga in Europe's winter? Well, that's what we'll be looking at in this video. So watch the video to the end because it's sure going to be interesting. So Russia provides a substantial amount of natural gas through a pipeline to Europe. In early September, with Western military support for Ukraine and sanctions, Putin turned off Nord Stream, the natural gas pipeline. For your information, Nord Stream is controlled by Gazprom PJSC, a Russian state producer. According to a research firm, Wood Mackenzie, Russia's share of natural gas imports has fallen from 36% last October to just 9% a year later. That's not all. Even the European Union imports of Russian crude oil have tumbled by 33% ahead of a ban due to take effect in December. A lot of things are happening to the continent, and we're expecting to see how it won't get worse. See, Bill Gates warned that surging energy prices across the region could mean a lot as individuals won't be able to heat their homes, and we know what this means for the people. With the current situation, Europe has not been able to provide any viable alternatives. Many people have already warned of possible price spikes. They claim the price could send shivers this winter when they see their heating bills or pump gasoline. In a CNN interview, Yellen said this winter the European Union will cease, for the most part, buying Russian oil, and in addition, they will ban the provision of services that enable Russia to ship oil by tanker. It is possible that this could cause a spike in oil prices. Europe is now about achieving its aim to end its reliance on Russian fossil fuels by 2027. With the current state, gas storage facilities are 91% full, exceeding the 80% target EU officials set for countries to reach by November. Gas Infrastructure Europe revealed this. Also, German Economy Minister Robert Habeck said at a press conference in Berlin that President Putin would fail in his attempt to destabilize the basic economic order, the same way he would fail on the battlefield in Ukraine. So far, Europe's record has not been impressive. The high gas price has already led the industry to cut back and reduce production or use alternative fuels, and this made German companies start using 20% less gas in June than last year. In conditions like this, there are fewer chances of easterly winds, leading to lower temperatures than usual. There is also a higher chance of a cold outbreak this winter. The sad news is that gas supply emergencies could force gas-fired power stations to close. This will not speak well, and it's going to be unpalatable for the people. Rules governing the energy industry depict that any plants cut off would have to pay a massive fine for their failure to deliver electricity. So if this current winter sees a significant risk of gas shortages, it is most likely also to hit electricity supplies. We know that the biggest gas users will be households during the winter months. Now, as the weather gets colder, it will not be easy to convince people to stop heating their homes. And it doesn't even make sense telling them that. Now, does it? Well, European governments are already imploring customers to turn down their thermostats and take fewer hot showers, but appeals like this may not even have any meaningful impact. When Gates was speaking with Bloomberg journalist Akshat Rathi for a podcast episode, he was specifically asked to comment on the bad prospects for Europeans due to increasingly high energy prices this winter. He said, "The difference in the amount of natural gas you need in a very cold winter versus a mild winter will surprise people. It's almost a factor of 3. He continued, "So you better be hoping it's a fairly mild winter. If it's a very harsh winter, the trade-off trade-offs are very, very difficult, including clamping industrial use of energy in large part, which people aren't really ready for. However, ensuring that households recognize gas scarcity will be very important for getting Europe through the winter. You can expect this to be a difficult task. Averagely, gas prices of households have doubled since August 2021, but it's quite funny that many consumers have not fully noticed this yet. The reason is simple: they use much less gas during the summer months and pay fixed monthly amounts that will be revised upward only later. This is why many did not even notice. the change in gas prices. This is not the case in some other countries across the continent, as rising energy prices are already fueling massive protests. As things are going, the fiscal cost of energy subsidies will be extreme, while amounting to billions of euros in the larger EU countries. The worst scenario is these price subsidies will cause demand for gas to fall less than it would. Individuals who pay less for gas will not be fully inclined to take fewer and shorter hot showers or down the heating system. What this means is that Europe will find a way of importing more gas than it would have done if consumers had been forced to recognize scarcity through higher energy prices. This brings us to the question of where European leaders think they will obtain the additional gas. Understand that most gas producers are already working at peak capacity, and they will not be able to increase their output in the next few months. As we speak, the only potential source of additional supply is liquefied natural gas that would be diverted from Asia. But higher import demand from Europe will put more pressure on global LNG prices, and when this happens, Europe's import bill will be increased. Bill Gates even claimed that reactivating coal plants and relying on other, less green energy sources is pragmatic and will even be good for the climate in the long run. At the same time, in the short range, you just have to find any solution, even if that means emissions are going to go up. The former Microsoft executive also described the difficulties of climate activism, noting that he is effectively asking society to move from cheaper and longer-lasting alternatives for the sake of the planet, even going as far as to suggest some environmental problems may never have a solution. This winter's rise in home energy costs will put many lower-income families at risk of falling behind on their energy bills. They may have no choice but to make difficult decisions between paying medicine and rent, paying for food, and others. No matter what happens, European policymakers must also explain to their electorates that gas has become very scarce, and shielding them entirely from higher prices is not practical. What can also be done is if Europeans utilize limited financial resources to create incentives for households to save and make it easier for Europe to stop relying heavily on Russian gas. Well, we can only hope things will be fair enough for Europe and its people this winter. And that's it for today, guys. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.